Hello, you lovely people. This is me, the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Rajshri Food. Today, I'm going to show you different varieties of popcorn. I'm going to show you spicy, salted caramel popcorn, one, and the second one is a chocolate variety. Let's begin. Let's see the world's most important crop, and that is maize. Well, for some very strange reason, of course, maize and corn are very easily interchangeable words. They're all actually on a cob, which is encased in a husk. Well, when you remove this, it looks something like this. We all know the fresh corn on the cob that we actually roast or steam, and then we apply salt and pepper and butter and things like that on that. But this is very different. Of course, now this is a very interchangeable word, maize and corn. Now, this is of course available across the world in most grocery stores. You also get something like this, which is with butter or with hydrogenated fat or with oil. I'm using this for the recipe. If you do not lay your hands on this, what you can do is you can take a bowl full of corn, you can add in a dollop of salted butter, and then you can begin this process. Very simple. All you need is a thick bottomed pan, which also has a cover, something like this, because this will eventually, while cooking, once the heat hits the corn, there's water inside the grain. That water starts expanding, because of which the corn literally bursts open. That, in terms of entertainment, is called popping the corn. Very simple, fun actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer all of this into this kadhai or this thick bottom pan. As the heat now starts hitting, the first thing that will happen is the butter will start melting and start heating up simultaneously the corn. The corn eventually, like I said, there's that whole process that happens, because of which the popping will happen. So now on high flame, just keep mixing. Moment the first one pops in, that's the sign that the heat is just about perfect. This is when we cover this like so and allow all the corn to start popping. Let's wait for 30-40 seconds for all of this to beautifully start popping. And with this, off goes the flame. We stir this to ensure it does not burn at the base or at the bottom. And with this, popcorn is done and ready. Let's transfer this in a bowl. Allow this to slightly come down to room temperature. And in the same kadhai or the same wok, let's start making caramel. Let's now begin with the flavoring. The first one is salty, spicy caramel. For that, of course, we need sugar, this regular classic grain sugar. Now, there are two different kinds of caramel. The first one is a dry caramel, which we are making today. And the second one is a wet caramel, in which you add in a little bit of water. In this case, I'm using a dry caramel because popcorn needs that kind of a dry caramel. With wet caramel, the only chances are this would end up turning soggy, which we do not want. Without the use of spatula or a spoon or anything for that matter, just ensure that the sugar is well distributed at the bottom of the pan, and then we wait for it to start melting. At this stage, let's mix all of this together. Ensure that all the sugar crystals are now melted. At this stage, the flame could also be low so that the burning is in control and check. I'm going to add in some red chilli powder and a generous pinch of salt, remembering the fact that salted butter was used in the recipe. At this stage, let's mix this quickly and add in half of this popcorn. With this, off goes the flame, because you do not want the caramel now to start burning any further. Let's bring all of this together, mix it nicely. Once all of this is well mixed like so, without wasting any time, let's transfer this on a flat surface, in this case, a tray which is lined with a butter sheet. And we spread this like so. Now, because there is butter in this recipe, it's not going to clog like a praline or a chikki. It's all going to individually stay in its shape, encased, of course, in that beautiful caramelized goodness. To know if the caramel popcorns are perfect or no, there's a very simple step. You take some cooled ones in your hand and shake them together. Once this literally starts making the sound of that wonderful caramelized coating, your caramelized popcorns are done and ready. Let's move on to the next variety, and that is the chocolate popcorn, for which, of course, we need a pan, of course, on flame. And to this, I'm going to add in half a cup of water. that you melt the chocolate. Now, chocolate could be melted in various ways. You can use a pan the way I'm showing you. You can use a double boiler. You can also use a microwave. You can microwave this for a minute, and that's about it. You just give it a stir and your chocolate is melted and ready. What I'm doing is placing this in the water, not stirring it, not doing anything to it, because you do not want even a drop of moisture in the chocolate. Allow this to melt. It'll take its own time and its own glory. Once that happens, it's as simple as taking this and mixing it in the popped corn. Simple. Once the chocolate gets that nice little glisten on top, which is that little shine on top, we'll insert the spatula and give it a mix like so. At this stage, if you see, the chocolate has just about melted. Let's turn the flame off. Let's transfer this at the worktop and mix all of this well now. At this stage, do not continue heating this because the chocolate will just get arrested, and that's not what we're looking at. Let's mix this like so and start breaking any cocoa solids or fat with the help of a spatula like so. Let's transfer the chocolate like so, a little at a time. While you add in the chocolate, of course, you'll realize that the chocolate will not completely coat the popcorn. It'll still have that little marbled effect, which also adds in to the beauty of the chocolate popcorn. While I'm making this with dark chocolate, you could make this with white, you can make this with milk, you can make this with ruby, you can make this with any variety, flavor, color of chocolate. Let's transfer all of this on butter sheet, on a tray of course. Spread this and allow the chocolate to now start settling. It'll take at least 5 to 7 minutes for the chocolate to now start setting. Now, because this is a compound chocolate, it'll not need any kind of tempering or anything of that kind. All you need is the right temperature. Once this cools down, the chocolate will automatically get that flavor and that coat of chocolate. Let's wait and watch. With this, our two varieties of popcorn are done and ready. The first one, spicy salted caramel, and the second one, chocolate popcorn. Now, whether you're enjoying a film or IPL, make this for your family, make this for your friends, and enjoy together. Bye for now.